Well, this is a quick return. Hello, my friends. We are now going to powder charge our brass and check our neck interference fitting. Some of you may call this neck tension, but that is not what it is, and I will explain. I feel like a chicken with its head cut off the way I'm putting out these videos lately. I am on a deadline that is fast approaching. I am trying to get out to the range as fast as possible, but don't want to leave anything out for my people. Please subscribe, hit the bell for all notifications, and leave a like. Let's keep this series moving. Okay, I'm going to give a quick lesson on figuring your neck interference fit. And it is not neck tension, okay? That doesn't describe it well. It's a common thrown around, but there's more to it than that creates that neck tension. Okay, your brass, first of all, how smooth it is on the inside, that will determine the tension. The materials it's made of, that will determine the tension. How well it's brushed, that will determine the tension. How good your chamfer is, that will determine the tension. Okay, now if you ask any machinist, they'll tell you the same thing. Also, your bullet, how slippery is it on the outside? That'll determine your neck tension. What is the material it's made out of? How much friction does it give to your neck and your neck's metallurgy? That'll determine the tension. So from a machinist point of view, and what this really is we're taking something bigger and putting it into a smaller hole. That is called your neck interference fitting. And that is what we're dealing with. The true word for it is neck interference fitting. Now, to find out where we're at, you zero your calipers and you measure your bullet on the outside, of course, right on the body of the bullet. Not at this end, not at that end, not where it tapers down. Right where it is. And we come up with 0.2425. Now these bullets, also being Lapua, are always exact. 0.2425. All right, so we know that. Now you have to have pin gauges for this. And I think anybody who's interested in doing reloading should get pin gauges. This is what a pin gauge is. I don't know if it's focusing on that, but this is a 0.240. And this is a 0.2395. I get them in half thousandths increments to the size of my neck. And then also, I don't know if you can see on the end here, see how I chamfered them? I just did that on my little rotary sander. But it's nice to chamfer the edge instead of having a straight sharp edge. They'll go in better. If I try to get this 24395 in here, it goes in there pretty easy. And the reason it's springing back like that is because these are primed, so there's nowhere for the air to go. It goes in pretty easy. So I'll move up to the next one. a half a thousandths up, 240. And it goes in nice and tight, no movement at all. The 240 is what I'm going to use. It's what I'm going to go by. Nice, tight. Nice, tight. So these are all the same. I know my routine now and everything. My bullets come out the same because I pay attention to my strict rules that I've made for myself. So we've got 0.240. You subtract that, you got 0.0025. 2.5 thousandths, 2.5 thousandths. I spelled that wrong too. But you know what I mean. And that's how you figure it out. You need pin gauges, and I highly suggest rounding off the end like that too. They're so much easier to get in than if they're just a square tip. If they're a square tip, you can kind of scratch up the inside of your brass too, and you don't want to do that. I've primed these already, and I'm not showing that in this video because you've seen a priming video. But I'm going to powder charge these all the same because we're going to do our seating depth test first on these ammo box things that I also have on the website, file downloads. I'm starting off with 3 blow-offs. And I always make my blow-offs whatever this first one is. Okay, so these are all at 1.705. And then I go down in 3 thousandths increments. So 705, 705, 705. Then this red thing tells me I'm on a different seating depth, which tells me to move over to my next target. Okay? It's the only way you're going to be able to tell. You have to use a separate target for everything that is different, obviously. So I'll go over more about that target. Actually, I'm going to make a whole video about these, how to fill them out, how to fill in your targets, because I have targets made with little squares above them where you put the same numbers above your target so you can keep everything matched. Because I used to do that. I'd shoot and I'm like, wait a minute, that's the wrong target. But anyways, I'll make a whole video about that, okay? I'm gonna powder these up, and then I'll be back in this video with seating them, which you've already seen seating, but I want to show you how I organize them and how I use those little plastic red tips in my ammo box to keep everything organized. Okay, for the loading, which you've seen me load before, but I want to show you how I do this now, like when I'm doing a powder test or a seating depth test, to keep everything in order. This here is my seating depth chart. So I'm going to have 5 blow-offs in a row, which are going to be the same measurement, whether it's seating depth or powder charge. It will always be the same measurement as my first test group. So these will all be 1.705. So this is going to be my 6th bullet over. You see this? This is a Q-tip. So when I'm loading these, but being as this is a seating test, I'm going to be loading my bullets in after every 3 Okay, so I can put one of these red caps on it. So these are all going to be 28 grains of Varget, and they're all going to start at 1.705, but when I get to here, it's going to be different. So that's what this Q-tip is for. My 8th bullet, or my 9th bullet, I'm sorry, is going to be something else. So I'll load these all up with 28 grains, these 8, and then I'll put my tips on them. Then I'll pull this, and I'll go down 3 more. You see where I put that one? Then when I'm done with that, I'll go down another 3. 1, 2, 3, and this will be a new one. Then 1, 2, 3, and this will be a new one. And this all coincides with that chart I just showed you. All right, now we're over at the scale. We're gonna dump some powder. All of these are gonna be 28 grains of Varget. For me, anyways, that's what I'm using. And we got our little handy trickler back there. All right, I hope you can see those numbers. We're gonna trickle up now. 9.80. Looks like I'm gonna have to manually add in a little piece. Okay, 27.995. We'd have to go 5/1000ths of a grain more to get it perfect at 28. So this is exactly perfect for me. 960, that needs about a grain and a half. Let's see where this brings us. 7075, I can get one more grain in there. Wow, 27.995 again. That's a beautiful thing. So I'm going to move forward now and show you when I start marking these shells. So here's my first 5 blow-offs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, and I put the bullets in those 8 too. So here's my first 5 are blow-offs. So I'll be shooting those at the target that shows blow-offs. Then this is where it starts at 1.705 again. But this will be a different target next to the blow-off target. There's 8 targets on there. So now I know that this is moving over a target. Now I'm going to take my Q-tip out and leave 3 spaces in between, because I will fill those, put bullets on them, and then I'll move down another 3, and when I put those bullets on, I'll mark this one with a red one. So I know I'm starting at a different seating depth, because we're going to be changing seating depths here now. And as I said, this all goes along with this chart. So that's how that works. Now, to seat these bullets that I just loaded. So I loaded them all to 28 grains of Varget. So anyways, on my chart, I've got 5 blow-offs, and then every other 3 is a change in seating depth. But this first one, 1.705, that's what these blow-offs are going to be. So my first 8 are going to be set at 1.705, and then every 3 I'll alternate going down 0.003 of an inch. So then I put the caps on every 3 to mark them. But the only thing is, when they're like this, it's hard to get the back ones out. So I just turn this around. It's not a biggie. I turn this around and then I start from right to left, right to left, right to left, and that keeps me organized. When we look at my box now, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are my first 5 blow-offs. That goes in the first target. Then this shows me that I'm changing over to another target. 1, 2, 3. This shows me I'm changing over to another target. 1, 2, 3. And so on and so on. When I get done, they'll all be filled and marked every 3. So that's how it works, marking your bullets so you don't screw up on your targets. In the next video will be how to use these charts. I'll show you all the charts and the targets and everything, how we're filling them out. See you on the next one.